You finally get the thing. The promotion, the degree, the number on the scale you swore would change everything. And for a moment, standing right where you always wanted to be, you feel almost nothing. That flatness is not a malfunction. It has a name. Psychologists call it the Arrival Fallacy, and your brain has been running this program since before you were born. Here is the strange part. The goal was never really the point. Your brain used the goal as fuel to keep you moving. Once you arrive, the fuel runs out. What's left is just you, standing still, waiting for a feeling that isn't coming. In 1978, researchers Philip Brickman and Donald Campbell studied people who had just won the lottery. Life-changing money. Overnight, you would expect euphoria to last for years. Instead, within about a year, most winners rated their day-to-day happiness at roughly the same level as before they won. Brickman and Campbell called this hedonic adaptation. Your brain doesn't stay thrilled. It resets. Why would evolution build a brain like this? Think about your ancestors. A hunter who felt permanently satisfied after one good kill had no reason to hunt again tomorrow. Contentment that lingers is a survival risk. So natural selection favored brains that chase, achieve, briefly celebrate, and then reset the meter back to zero. Not because your ancestors were ungrateful, because staying hungry kept them alive. Harvard psychologist Daniel Gilbert has spent decades studying something related called affective forecasting. That's your brain's attempt to predict how a future event will make you feel. And it turns out your brain is remarkably bad at this job. You imagine the finish line will feel like fireworks. Gilbert's research shows it almost never does. You overestimate the high of getting what you want, and you overestimate the low of losing it. Your emotional forecast is wrong in both directions. So, what actually happens at the finish line? Your brain briefly registers the win. Then it starts scanning for the next problem, the next gap, the next thing you don't have yet. This is why some of the most accomplished people you know seem the least satisfied. They are not broken. They are simply standing at the top of a staircase their own brain keeps building higher. Have you ever noticed this in something small? You finally send the email you'd been avoiding for weeks, and 30 seconds later, your brain has already moved on to worrying about something else. The relief barely registers before it's gone. Here's the twist most people never learn. The feeling you were chasing was never waiting at the destination. It was already happening in the climb. The version of you who was working toward the goal, solving problems, getting slightly better each day, that version was closer to satisfaction than the version who finally arrived. Psychologists call this the difference between the destination and the journey. But the science behind it is simpler than the cliche makes it sound. Your brain rewards progress, not completion. Every small step forward releases a hit of dopamine tied to movement toward a goal, not to the goal itself. That's why the day after a huge win can feel oddly hollow, while an ordinary Tuesday spent improving at something you care about can feel unexpectedly good. Your brain was never built to feel finished. It was built to feel forward motion. So, the next time you cross a finish line and feel less than you expected, you're not ungrateful, and you're not broken. You're just meeting your own biology. The prize was never the point. The point was who you became chasing it. You finally get the thing, and this time, you understand why the silence that follows was never empty. It was just your brain, already looking for what comes next.